Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Neely by Nature. My name is Neely. On this channel we talk about so many things from social issues, international news, spirituality, law of attraction, self-development, self-actualization, and so much more. So if any of those topics interest you, please remember to hit the subscribe button and support your girl. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to thumbs up and comment below. I love hearing from you guys. So let's jump right into today's video. Today I wanted to talk about America's obsession with violence and guns, and it's something that I feel like it's really important that we start to discuss as a country, as a group of people, as a society, because I think that there's just so much violence that I believe the American government and the American military is perpetuating, not just here in our country, but globally. And the cost of this is human life. And this is something that I've thought about since I've taken an interest in understanding and learning about American history. So since I was in high school and I learned about World War II and how we became such a superpower after World War II, and just understanding how the first business that America ever opened was selling weapons. That was the first business that George Washington signed off on, which was selling weapons to the world. I think when we examine the history and the foundation of guns in this country, it's very interesting because there has to be some level of psychological damage in living in a country that is best known for winning war or selling weapons or being the most powerful or having the most powerful military or having the most powerful weapons, having, nuclear weapons. There has to be some type of psychological damage that comes on to the people of our country. It's no brainer that we're gonna have school shootings. It's no brainer that people love their guns, and it's fine that you want to have a gun and you want to protect yourself. But we're talking about, we have these AK-47s that are being sold in Walmart, or snipers, and you can see the level of ignorance that this constant perpetuating of we need protection from our government and from our lawmakers that say, like, we need guns. You can see the ignorance it has on its people. And I want to just insert this video right here.
Imagine how they would look. Like, you can just choose how they would look. She looked like Marceline when she pop a bean.
So basically there are so many videos like this where Americans, and I hate to say it, majority white Americans, feel like we can just nuke a country and that's it. We killed off our enemies and that's it. We won. Let's go celebrate. I don't think that people are thinking about the innocent lives that it's going to cost by just bombing the shit out of a country. And not to say that we haven't already been doing that, but it's disturbing for me to acknowledge that Americans are okay with civilians dying. And the amount of civilians, it doesn't matter if it's mothers or children, they don't care. And it's just the acknowledging and the awareness that this is the effect of us living in a country that is constantly at war, that is constantly perpetuating violence all around the world. Right now, the US sells weapons to Saudi Arabia that bombs the shit out of Yemen. And these weapons that are being sold to Saudi Arabia are condemned by the international world. And the US still continues to sell these weapons to Saudi Arabia as they drop continuous bombs on Yemen, which has created mass migration. It's created war in this country. It's created famine. Just seeing babies starving to death in Yemen, and the role that the US is playing in the destruction of Yemen.
Saudi Arabia intervened in Yemen's civil war in 2015. The Saudis claimed they wanted to restore the government, but only made the conflict worse. Iran stepped in to support the rebels, turning Yemen into a proxy war. The Saudis' aggressive tactics have created the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. Out of nearly 16,000 airstrikes since 2015, the Saudi coalition has hit civilian targets a third of the time. Most estimates put the civilian death toll well over 10,000. The UN has found that many of the civilian attacks were intentional and could be considered war crimes. The problem is, the US has continued to sell arms to Saudi Arabia this whole time. In fact, the Obama administration approved the most arms sales to the Saudis in US history. These included not just new weapons, but also replacements for weapons used or damaged in Yemen, including this bomb, likely sold to Saudi Arabia in 2015 and dropped on a school bus in 2018.
And I feel like some Americans are just okay with that because this is war. And I think that we need to have a conversation about this obsession of, yeah, let's go win this war. Yeah, let's go kill people. And I think it's had so much of an effect on our soldiers. And I want to talk about that too, because there are so many Americans who, after 9/11, felt like, they wanted to go serve their country. And there were so many soldiers who went there and died. There are so many soldiers who went there and didn't understand why they even were there. They didn't understand what they were doing. And there are so many soldiers that came back who had PTSD from just having to use their weapons, from killing people. There are so many soldiers who went to this country in Afghanistan and Iraq and abused civilians, abused people.
The group reviewed U.S. detention and rendition practices since September 11th and concluded U.S. interrogators committed torture while questioning detainees. The top U.S. leadership must be held responsible for that torture, and there's no proof the torture provided authorities with any information to prevent future attacks.
Because there is something psychologically wrong about war. There's something psychologically damaging on when you tell someone, here's a gun, at the mere age of 18 and say, here's a gun, that's your enemy. Now go shoot and go do this for your country. There is something psychologically wrong with that. And I think it's so important that we take the time to actually discuss this, acknowledge this, and bring awareness to this, because who wants to live like this? It's just costing so much life, and it's costing so much life all around the world. Even if our troops are not dying, they're coming back with trauma, and then they're dumping that trauma on other people that they're starting a family with. That's why so many veterans are homeless. So many veterans have, addiction problems. So many soldiers are coming back with trauma and PTSD. And they're not even getting the thanks anymore, because people don't even understand why we're at war. People don't even respect war. People don't even respect our military anymore. And that's sad, because these kids, they're just going out there to do their best, to go save or to go be a hero. There's so many documentaries. There's actually a recent documentary on Netflix that talks about 9/11 and just exactly what happened when we went to Afghanistan and Iraq, and how so many soldiers came back feeling so devastated, and how many soldiers today feel devastated because we didn't win this war. We didn't win. We were at war with Afghanistan for 20 years and we didn't even win. And it's almost like they went through all of that for nothing. I think it's really important for us to talk about the violence that Americans are obsessed with, because we see it in our police and our policing in this country. That's really what ticked off the pandemic last year, was when we had these huge BLM protests about the police brutality in this country towards Black people. And the violence, the constant violence and killing people and torturing people and abusing people. There was so much torture that happened. Our soldiers committed acts of torture to Iraqi detainees. And For what, Because there's something psychologically wrong with them. There was something fucked up about the whole situation of torturing people and the ways they were torturing these detainees that they didn't even know if they were innocent or guilty. These were some people that, if someone said that they knew something, they went and locked that person up and took them to Guantanamo Bay and then tortured them. People didn't care. People didn't care about the morale of the entire situation because we were at war. That's the constant thing. We're at war. When we're at war, it doesn't matter if innocent lives are at risk or are dying, because it's all about winning. And I think that the violence and the guns and the weapons has everything to do with this obsession to win. It's this obsession of being the most powerful. It's this obsession with we have to control everything. The US has the most military bases out of any country around the world. We have the most military bases all around the world globally. And this is a tactic. This is a don't fuck with me ever tactic, right? This is modern day colonization. It's constantly making sure that no one acts up. And this is what the US government is doing and what they have been doing. And it's important that we have these open conversations about our obsession with violence and the impact it has on our society, the impact it has on our communities, the impact it has on individuals. We're having these school shootings, these mass school shootings, these church shootings in our country, in the US. We're having, we're selling weapons to anyone who's buying. And what's the cost of it? Human life. And do we care about human life? It seems like sometimes people can just disregard human life because, especially when that human life is not American, especially when that human life is not white. When it's these Middle Eastern Arabs, it's almost like Americans have been taught to dehumanize Arabs and Muslims. So, or any POCs, to be honest. Because the only images we see of them on news is the Taliban, and you can't tell who's good or bad. You're not seeing the faces of the people who are just emotionally distraught by this war. We're not seeing the children who have been sold into sex slaves. We're not seeing the extreme poverty that this war has created on so many human lives. We're not giving the human lives that it's costing a voice. Because all we're seeing is, here's what's happening in Afghanistan. The Taliban takes over the country. But we're not seeing the people that it's impacting. So how can we have this level of compassion and empathy? So of course we're going to have a country full of people who are just like, why can't we just nuke the shit out of Afghanistan? And it's just like the thought of the human life is going to cost is an afterthought. And I think that that's something that's so fucked up that we need to talk about, is that why are people so unaffected, so disassociated from other human beings? Why are we constantly seeing other people as the other, constantly separating ourselves? And we separated ourselves so much that we don't even care if people die. Especially the people who are just like, why can't we just go over there and shoot people and kill them? It's like there's something fucked up about killing someone. And I think that we really glamorize killing people. And I think it has everything to do with Hollywood glamorizing violence and guns and war. The amount of movies that came out after 9/11 about the US going there and kicking ass, and the theaters in America just erupt in cheers because we're winning, and then come to find out 20 years later we didn't fucking even win. We didn't even win. And what was the cost of that? Hundreds of thousands of lives, of Afghani lives, Iraqi lives, Arab lives. We were bombing Syria, all these countries in the Middle East. And we don't care. And I think that we have to take some time to really understand just how much the U.S. citizens and our country and our government and our military is obsessed with war and violence. And I think that if we can understand our obsession, we can then work backwards to find better ways of creating a wholesome society. It doesn't have to be that we have to go to war every time something happens that's not okay. We don't have to go and kill hundreds of thousands of innocent people. We can find better ways of creating a benevolent world for all human beings. And I think that the reason that we're not doing that is because weapons are just one of our biggest incomes as a country. War is very profitable. And so we're never going to take the time to understand just how much war and violence has created a very damaged society where we are so polarized in this country because money's on the line. And when money's on the line, everything else it's white noise. But I do think that it's important for us to talk about this because I foresee that even more lives will be taken in the coming years. It's really on us as a society, as a group of people, as a country to discuss this and make sure that this is something that our government and military acknowledges so that we can improve, so that we're not constantly killing people, so that we can actually create a better world for all of us, so that we don't have to fear that our kid going to school isn't going to get shot today because, you know, some kid has access to a gun. You know, these are things that it's really important because we have countless people constantly deploying themselves, being deployed to go to these foreign countries and fight for us. And they don't even know why they're fighting. And they're coming back damaged. They're coming back feeling so much trauma. But yeah, I really just want to talk about that today because I've seen so many TikTok videos of people who are just like, you know, yeah, let's go kill people. Let's go, you know, just like hyping people up to go sign up for the army and to go fight and to protect and serve our country. And why can't we just, you know, go and kill people and be done with it? And it just goes to show just how much ignorance there is out there. And I don't say that to shame anyone. I don't want to shame anyone. I don't want to shame the person that I put in this video from TikTok. But more for us to acknowledge and like be aware that this is something that is wrong with our culture. And it's something that we need to address, and we need to address it soon because we don't know if we'll be next. The way things are going for our country, we don't know if sooner or later there's a war here in homeland. So why don't we take the time to discuss the obsession of violence and war and find better ways of creating a better society for everyone, not just people in this country, but internationally. Anyways, I would love to know what you guys thought about this video. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that, you know, America has an obsession with violence and guns? Do you feel that it's okay to have guns? And do you think that war is okay and war is necessary? Do you guys believe that America must be the superpower? Can we live in a world where there is no superpower and there's just equality all around? I would love to know you guys' thoughts. Comment below, thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you guys at my very next video. Bye.